We're looking at the rainwater storage for the house. So there are 5 tanks under here, each 2,000 litres, so a total of 10,000 litres storage. There are a food grade poly underdeck tank. You can see 100 ml inlet, and at the same level got 100 ml outlet. So all the stormwater is going to come into this tank, and then the overflow will also come out of this tank. If it's really pouring hard, we know that it'll manage to cope with the flow fine. It'll get out as fast as it comes in. And then after the water's into this one tank, it's connected to all the other 4 tanks. So this is where the first tank, where all the rainwater comes into, links to the next tank. So if we have a look at the pipe work, coming out of the tank, there's one ball valve, so you can shut that off. And then where there's a link, we've got another ball valve, so we can stop the link before. And that allows us to just drain one tank if we needed to drain out a tank. So say we know that there's a big jacaranda hanging over this roof, and that might put a lot of nutrients in the waters, particularly when there's a lot of flowers dropping off it onto the roof. And it just might be that this tank needs to be cleaned out, so we can just shut it off from all the other ones and drain just the one tank out. And then we've got another valve, and that's draining out into our side access here. So each tank can be isolated by all the little ball valves, and then we can drain them individually. This is now where we go from where the water's collected into the tanks, and now we're going to take it from that stored water where it gets supplied into the house. So we have to draw the water out of one tank. So we've chosen to draw the water out of a tank which is 2 tanks away from the one where the rainwater's coming into. That means this tank's going to have less sludge settle in it than the original one. So we take it out of the bottom, a nice big suction pipe, and that makes it easy for the pump to draw the water. Here's our suction pipe going into our pump, and on our suction pipe we have a union here. And this is just in case we need to take the pump out for service. It's easy to disconnect it. And same, the water goes into the pump, and where it comes out of the pump, we also have a union. So once again, we can easily disconnect the pump. This pump setup, we've got a pump with a pressure switch, which is a bit hidden behind, and a pressure accumulator tank. And how this works is that when there's a water demand, it's not the pump that will start straight away. There'll be just compressed air inside the accumulator tank, and that will push down on the water that's stored in there and deliver the water at the mains style pressure until it drops. It'll be set to 100 bar, 100 kPa, and then the pump will start, and the pump will run until it gets back up to the cutout pressure. So when there's little uses in the house, the little use of water will be delivered just by the compressed air, and once there's really big uses, then the pump can supply all the flow if need be. So it just means the pump doesn't have to start as many times. Basically much more energy efficient. Okay, out of our pump, we're going through a coarse line strainer again, and then the rainwater goes up and meets this valve here. This is a switchover valve, but it's got no electricity, so this is a passive hydraulic one. So the mains water is coming in and the rainwater comes up. But as long as there's rainwater being supplied at pressure, we'll just get rainwater delivered into the house. If for some reason there was no rainwater being supplied, there was a pail fail or something, then automatically we would get the mains water through that valve. From that switch over, then we're going through our filters, and then it'll go off to the house. On top of our sediment filters, we've got 3 valves. So these valves tell us the pressure drop. As sediment builds up on the filters, it becomes more resistant to the flow of water, and so you get a bigger pressure drop, and it just eventually tells you that your filters are clogged. So to clean them, you would switch off the valves. These are actually switched off at the moment, so there's no water come spurting out. And then loosen the housing. This will be quite heavy because it's going to be full of water. And then there'll be a filter cartridge inside there that you can change or clean.